Hi there! So, today we're going to talk about the treatment of natural gemstones. I apologize in beforehand for not using highly scientific terms. I just want to put it simply, so everyone could understand. So, one of the most popular and ancient treatment of gemstones is heating. It has been known for many centuries, and even nowadays in Sri Lanka, they built a little hut for a gemstone made from charcoal, then lit it and let the stone sit inside for some period of time. What it is all for? The thing is that some gemstones have inclusions. Sometimes inclusions are a bad thing to happen, and you cannot do anything about it. Sometimes you can, like in case of tanzanites, for example, or most of blue Sri Lankan sapphires. When you apply high temperature, the tiny little bubbles, wrinkles, or whatever shape, the inclusions might be melt and the stone becomes crystal clear and bright. Basically, it's absolutely the same process which you may see when you put your chicken soup into a microwave. In the fridge the broth looks ugly and cloudy, but after a few minutes in heat, it becomes transparent and very appetizing. I'm not going to dive deeper into the details of the chemical process which is happening there. In the gemstone, I mean. My guess is that people discovered that feature when they started making glass. You know, when they apply high temperature to get the transparent glass instead of silicon. The gemstone might have looked to ancient people kinda similar to the glass, and maybe one of them decided to give it a try. What I can tell you for sure is that the professionals in this area are very rare, and they have got to possess not only high skills, but also lots of secret knowledge which they won't share with anyone. And some of them, like in Thai for example, don't mind to ask for the aid from gods. Why so? Because during heating the stone might be ruined easily. Its color may change not into desired direction, it can crack due to the high temperature. There also can be the situation when you bring a fine beautiful gemstone just to perfect it a little bit, and after heating it comes out of the fire uglier than it used to be before. I had this story actually when one of my acquaintance had a beautiful royal blue sapphire which had a few inclusions. That guy wanted to make it perfect and even more expensive, so he gave it to the thermistor or heat treater. That's how people who are heating the stones are called in this professional area. And he asked him to fix the stone. However, after the heating the beautiful royal blue hue was gone, and instead of it not very much nice yellow and green hues came out. Of course the stone lost in price several times, and on top of everything, we must say that there is no such a professional heat treater who would be able to handle any stones from any mining around the world. They all are usually used to working with a specific type of stone from the specific mining. Depending on them and their characteristics, the process will vary. There will be a different time of warming up the stone, different time of cooling it down, a different temperature in the middle of the process, and so on. Do I consider the heated stones are unnatural? No, I definitely don't. Because in my opinion, heating is one of the most natural way to change the stone. And it has happened many times during hundreds of years. So I wouldn't even call that type of stone artificially modified or treated. As in the nature, the gemstones are exposed to the fire all the time. So basically, the fact that the stone is heated, it doesn't change anything in its properties in terms of its value. Of course, if you're lucky enough to take the perfect color gemstones directly from the ground, it would cost a lot more, but just because the gemstone which comes out of the ground being perfect already is one of the most rarest things to happen. One more thing to remember. The heated gemstones don't lose their color over time. They don't burn out under the sunlight or anything like that. I myself often wear the pieces of jewelry with heated gemstones, because I believe that if you can't see the difference, you don't have to pay more. By the way, It was the funny story when one of the tourists complained on our Thai gemstone cutters, blaming him for actually painting the gemstone with a brush. It never happens like that, just for you to know. Nobody paints the gemstones with the actual brush. What that tourist have seen most likely is just cleaning the stone from the dust. Anyway, where was I? Just remember, the dyed gemstone might lose their color, and they're supposed to be artificially treated. The heated gemstones never lose their color, because all the inclusions are already melted, and there is no way for them to grow back, and this treatment is supposed to be very much okay in my personal opinion. I only stand against the unfair methods of treatment and color alteration, such as X-raying the stones, filling the imperfections, or just covering with the class chemical treatments, etc. etc. Those stones usually don't even look natural anymore. Those I cannot appreciate them. For the same reason is the main principle of our company. Never buy or sell that type of treated gemstones. The only one exception which might be considered for a sanded procedure is filling in tiny imperfections in emerald with special oil, so the process is very similar actually to the glass filling. The stone is heated so to open up the crackle or the void. Then they pour in the glass, and then it just cools down altogether, creating the near surface. The same with emeralds and oil. Almost all emeralds have lots of imperfections, and they're usually masked with the help of this special oil. That will never go off within at least 15-20 years. But even if it does wears away, we just need to grab your emerald and pass it to the professional to refill it with oil. And I almost forgot, any kind of treatment should be affected in the certificate, otherwise I would call it a forgery. So even if it's emerald, and as I said in case of emeralds, oil treatment is very common for many centuries, I shall stay out clear in black and white, what is the percentage of oil.